Hello, I'm Yves Delabroise, engineer at Interval Zero for the Kingstar product line. And today I'm going to talk about selecting a suitable network interface for EtherCAT. So the first thing is that the needs of an EtherCAT network are quite different from the needs of a standard network or a vision network. The load in EtherCAT is quite low. There is no need for jumbo packets, no need for gigabit or 10 gigabit network. It runs at 100 megabits. But it needs to be very precise. When we tell the network interface to send a packet, it has to send it immediately. And when the packet returns, it needs to be sent to the EtherCAT software immediately. So what it needs is to be autonomous in transmission. When the packet is sent to the network chip has to send it itself. It cannot rely on other resources of the computer. And the second thing is that when the packet comes in, we should not have any interrupt moderation, which is grouping packets before sending them. The packet that comes in should be sent immediately to the software. This is quite different from a standard network or even a vision network, where they have a high load and they have large packets, jumbo packets needed. In those cases, the interrupt moderation is going to be important because it will avoid having many interrupts that prevent the software from running smoothly. So, how to choose a NIC within the specifications? The first important part is to select a NIC, a network interface chip, not just the physical layer. If it only has the physical layer, it will rely on the CPU and the RAM to send the packet, which means the transmission will be much slower. The second thing is not to share the PCI bus with other things. Because if you have, for example, a video connection on the same PCI link, that video connection will take the PCI line for a lot of the time, which will add delays when sending and receiving the packets. And the last thing is to have a selectable or configurable interrupt moderation setting in the card, because the setting needed for EtherCAT is different than the default setting needed for normal networks. In some brands, such as Intel, you can easily select the card using its name. For example, the i210, i211, i350 are NICs that will be suitable for EtherCAT. And the i217, i218, i219 are only physical layer, which will be much slower and much more jittery when using EtherCAT. For other brands, the name is not necessarily enough because they may have different sorts of cards using the same name. So we may even sometimes need to install our own driver to read registers and know what functions are in the card, which makes it harder to select. The third thing is that this card selection is only important for precise EtherCAT network. Precise means that you need synchronization, fast cycles, or a lot of devices. The synchronization is when you need a precise time stamping of the incoming and outgoing data, when you need to know when the outputs are triggered, when the inputs are incoming. This is also important for axes, because the axes needs to be synchronized together and with the controller to avoid vibrations. Fast cycles are cycles below 500 microseconds. For EtherCAT, 1 millisecond, 2 milliseconds is considered slow. So if your network only has a few IOs, 10, 20, 30 IOs at 1 millisecond without a need for precise time stamping, even a normal network card, a slow or less precise network card, will be good enough for your network. You will simply have to disable the synchronization functions to avoid getting errors. Thank you for your time. I'm hoping this helped you.